Hello everyone, welcome you all in the problem solving class of the course Applied Electromagnetics for Engineers. So in the previous lecture we have seen some of the numericals based on the topic lossless as well as lossy transmission line, which has been covered in the previous weeks of this course. So in the today's lecture we will see some of the numerical based on the topic Smith chart and impedance matching network. So let us start with the today's class. So our first problem is, if normalized resistance R in a Smith chart is equals to 1, then the radius of the resistance circle is how much? Okay, so any idea that how to solve this problem? Okay, so see, in a Smith chart, there are two types of circles are present. One is the resistance circle, and the second one is the reactance circle. Okay, so to solve this problem, we have to first know the equation of this resistance and reactance circle. So for that, we have to first derive the equation of resistance as well as reactance circle. So let us start. So as we all know that reflection gamma is defined as ZL minus Z naught over ZL plus Z naught. Okay, so let us divide both numerator as well as denominator by the quantity Z naught, which is the characteristic impedance of the transmission line. So this becomes ZL by Z naught minus 1 over ZL plus Z naught plus 1. Okay, so this represents basically the normalized impedance, okay, which is defined by ZL prime, okay, ZL prime plus 1. So we can also represent the ZL prime in terms of gamma. So this can be represented as gamma minus 1 over gamma plus 1. Oh, I am sorry. This will be equals to 1 plus gamma over 1 minus gamma. Okay, so as we all know that gamma can be defined in terms of both magnitude as well as its phase angle. Okay, so this we can define in polar coordinates, but we can also define this in rectangular coordinate system. So this is defined as gamma r plus j gamma I. Okay, so let us now replace this gamma here. So ZL prime is defined as ZL prime is equals to 1 plus gamma r plus j gamma I over 1 minus gamma r plus j gamma I. Okay, so here also we can replace the normalized impedance as RL plus JXL. Okay, so here one thing is to note that these RL and XL are the normalized resistance as well as reactance. Okay, so this can be simplified by multiplying both numerator as well as denominator of this quantity by this denominator, conjugate of this denominator. Okay, so let us multiply both numerator as well as denominator by this conjugate of this denominator term. So this will becomes 1 plus gamma r plus j gamma I over 1 plus, sorry, 1 minus gamma r plus j gamma I into 1 minus gamma r minus j gamma I over 1 minus gamma r minus j gamma I. So this you can simplify it by yourself. So I am directly writing the expression that we will get after solving this equation. So RL plus J gamma X J XL is defined as, yeah, 1 plus gamma R is, sorry, 1 minus gamma R, 1 minus gamma R square minus gamma I square plus J 2 gamma I over 1 minus gamma R square plus gamma I square. Okay, so after solving this equation you will get this. Okay, so let us now equate both the real as well as imaginary part individually. So RL is defined as 1 minus gamma R square minus gamma I square over 1 minus gamma R square plus gamma I square. Okay, so let me erase it. Yeah, so let us now multiply this term here in the left hand side. So this will becomes RL in bracket 1 minus gamma R square plus R in RL into gamma I square is equals to 1 minus gamma R square minus gamma I square. Okay, so you can simplify this square term. RL in bracket 1 plus gamma R square minus 2 uh, gamma R plus RL gamma I square is equals to 1 minus gamma R square minus gamma I square. Okay, so we can uh, simplify this equation further. So yes, after simplifying this equation I am directly writing the equation here. So this becomes gamma R minus R over 1 plus R square plus gamma I square is equals to 1 upon 1 plus R square. Okay, so this represents the equation of resistance circle. Okay, this represents the equation of resistance circle. From here you can see that the resistance circle is placed at the center of R over 1 plus R comma 0 and having the radius, this is the center, and radius is 1 over 1 plus R. Okay, so by using this we can easily solve this question. So like here in this problem it is given that the normalized resistance in the Smith chart is 1, that is RL is given as 1. Okay, and you have to find out the radius of R circle. So here you can directly put the value of RL which is 1. Okay, so radius is defined as 1 over 1 plus 1 which is equals to 0.5. So this will be the radius of the resistance circle. Okay, any doubt? Okay, so here is the radius which we have calculated earlier. Okay, so our this question is somehow related to the previous question. Okay, so here we have to here it is given that the normalized reactance is equals to plus minus 2, and we have to find out the center of the corresponding reactance circle. Okay, so for solving this question we have to first find out the equation of reactance circle, then only we can put the value of normalized reactance there, that we have done in the previous problem as well, like normalized resistance there is given. Okay, so we have first find out the value of we have first find out the equation. After that we have directly put out the value of normalized resistance there. Okay, similarly the similar process we will do here. Okay, so as we have done here. Okay, the same process we will do here. So after normalizing, you have seen that r plus jx is defined like 1 plus 1 minus gamma r square minus gamma I square over 1 minus gamma r square plus gamma I square plus j 2 gamma I over 1 minus gamma r square plus gamma I square. Okay, so for finding out the value of resistance equation, we have already used this term, real term. Okay, whereas for finding out the value of or say finding out the value of finding out the equation of reactance circle, we will use this imaginary term. Okay, so xl is defined as 2 gamma I over 1 minus gamma r square plus gamma I square. Okay, so multiply this term in the left hand side, you will get xl 1 plus gamma r square, sorry, this will be minus 2 gamma r plus gamma I square is equals to 2 gamma I. Okay, so you can divide this xl in both the sides. So this will xl and this is also xl. Okay, so this xl will cancel out, so equation becomes 1 plus gamma r square minus 2 gamma r. Okay, so like here you can also write this term as gamma r minus 1 square. Okay, because it is same, minus 1 you can take common, and the square of minus 1 is 1, so that's why this will not change. Okay, and whereas here you can write like gamma I square over xl minus 2 gamma I over xl. Oh sorry, here this gamma xl will not be present. Okay, and this will become 0. Okay, so we can do one thing, like we can uh, add both side by xl square. Okay, So this becomes gamma r minus 1 square plus gamma I minus 1 over xl square is equal to 1 over xl is square. Okay, so from here you can see this is the equation of reactance circle. So here the center of reactance circle is 1 comma 1 over xl, whereas the radius will be 1 over xl. Okay, so like here in the question it is given that the normalized reactance is equal to plus minus 2, and you have to find out the center of the corresponding x circle. So you have to directly put the value of xl here so as to find out the center. Okay, so like here I directly put the value of x here, so center becomes 1 comma 1 over plus minus 2. So this becomes equals to 1 comma plus minus 0.5. Okay, so any doubt in this question? Okay, so our third question is a complete clockwise revolution of 360-degree around the Smith chart represents: one is the moving towards the generator with a distance of lambda by 4, moving towards the load with a distance of lambda by 4, moving towards the generator with a distance of lambda by 2, and moving towards the load with a distance of lambda by 2. Okay, so as you all know that if suppose this is the Smith chart, okay, so this is the normalized uh, impedance circle, impedance Smith chart. Okay, so in the impedance Smith charts, this represents the short circuit and this represents the open circuit. Okay, so on the outer periphery of this circle you will see that an arrow has been given, and here it is written that wavelength towards load, towards generator. So it means that if you will move clockwise around this circle, so you will go towards the generator. Okay, and also as you all know that the uh, the distance like wavelength when you start moving clockwise from short circuit towards open circuit, so this distance becomes equal to lambda by 4. So another lambda by 4 if you add, so you will come at the same point which is the short circuit. Okay, so the total distance that has been covered will be sum of lambda by 4 plus lambda by 4. So this will be equals to lambda by 2. So the option 3 will be correct, like moving towards the generator. So if you will revolve clockwise, so you are moving towards the generator and the total distance covered here will be lambda by 2. Okay, so option C is correct. So our fourth question is: a 120 ohm load is matched to a 75 ohm line. Okay, then the characteristic impedance of a quarter wave transformer is. So if suppose this is a transmission line and you have to uh, add a load across this transmission line by using some quarter wave transformer. So this is the quarter wave transformer. Okay, so here the load impedance is given as 120 ohm, whereas the impedance or say characteristic impedance of the transmission line is given as 75 ohm. So in the question it is asking about the characteristic impedance of the quarter wave transformer. So the quarter wave transformer which you are used here so as to match the impedance of the load to the transmission line. So what will be the characteristic impedance of this quarter wave transformer? Okay, so for solving this problem, as we know that length of the quarter wave transformer will be lambda by 4. Okay, so we will use the basic input impedance equation that we have seen in the first and the second class of this course. Okay, so if suppose this is the Z in. Okay, so Z in is defined as Z naught in bracket में ZL plus J Z naught tan over beta L over Z naught plus J ZL tan over beta L. Now L of this quarter wave transformer is given as lambda by 4, whereas beta we know that it is given as 2 pi by lambda. So beta L will be equals to 2 pi by lambda into lambda by 4. So this lambda and lambda will be cancelled and this becomes pi by 2. Okay, so this tan beta L becomes pi by 2. So tan pi by 2, as we all know, that it becomes equals to infinite. Okay, so let us put the value of tan of beta L here. So this becomes Z naught in bracket ZL plus, say it's a infinite, no? So what we will do, we will take this J tan beta L common from both numerator as well as denominator. Okay, so this becomes ZL over J tan over beta L plus Z naught upon Z naught over J tan over beta L plus ZL. Okay, so as tan over beta L, which is tan pi by 2, becomes infinite, so this terms will become 0. So net Z in is defined as Z naught square over ZL. Okay, so Z in here it is given as 75 ohm and ZL you know 120 ohm. So you can directly put the value of ZL and Z in here so as to find out the value of characteristic impedance of the quarter wave transformer. Okay, so this becomes equals to 75 into 120. Okay, so after solving this equation you will get the characteristic impedance of the quarter wave transformer is 98.46 ohm. So now moving to the next question. So here it is given that a 100 ohm 100 plus J150 ohm load is connected to a 75 ohm lossless transmission line. By using a Smith chart, the location of first maxima and minima with respect to the load if line is 0.6 lambda. Okay, so basically here you have to find out that where will be the location of voltage maxima and minima if suppose the overall length of the transmission line is given as 0.6 lambda. Okay, so before solving this problem we have to first brush up some of the basic concept of the transmission line. So as we all know that voltage in a transmission line is defined as V of Z is equals to V plus e raised to the power minus j beta z plus v minus e raised to the power j beta z. Okay, so as we all know that v minus is defined as gamma times v plus. Okay, so that I put here. Okay, so there are two cases. One is the when the load is short circuited and the second one is when the load is open circuited. Okay, so when the load is short circuited, so in that case the gamma, that is reflection coefficient, becomes equals to -1. So here you can directly put the value of gamma. So the net voltage is given as -2j v naught plus sine of beta z, whereas when the in the open circuited case, the value of gamma becomes equals to 1. Okay, so the net voltage of transmission line is defined as 2v plus cos of beta z. Okay, so here I am defining this equation is just because uh, so as to visualize that when maxima and minima will happen. So here from this equation you can see that when z is equals to 0, okay, so in that case v of z becomes equals to 0. So this represents that minima will occur here. Okay, whereas in case of open circuited line, when z is equals to 0, so this becomes 2v plus. Okay, so from here we can conclude that for a short circuited line there is a possibility of voltage minima, whereas for a open circuited line there is a possibility of voltage maxima. Okay, so let us now see this problem by using a Smith chart. Okay, so here you can see that the load impedance is given as 100 plus j 150, whereas the characteristic impedance of the line is given as 75 ohm. So for for representing this load impedance in the Smith chart, we have to normalize this load impedance with respect to the characteristic impedance of the line. So that what I am doing here. So I just divide this load impedance with the characteristic impedance of the line, and the final normalized impedance is obtained as 1.33 plus J2. Okay, so this impedance we can directly see, like here is the resistance and this represent the reactance. Okay, so this upper part represents the inductive circle, whereas the lower hemisphere represents the uh, capacitive circle basically. Okay, so for representing this 1.33 plus J2, you have to first select the resistance. Okay, so here like 1.3 is there. So by using this line, we can say that somehow 1.33 will lie in this circle only. Okay, whereas the reactance is given as 2. So here like you can see that two line represent by this. Okay, so intersection of these two represents the actual line, oh sorry, actual normalized impedance. Okay, so here is point P basically represent the normalized impedance of the load. Okay, so now as you all know that it is given in the question that the net length of this transmission line is 0.6 lambda. Okay, so this represents the normalized impedance corresponding to the load. So you have to basically move towards the source. Okay, because if suppose this is the transmission line, this is my load. Okay, and the total length of this transmission line is 0.6 lambda. So we have to see here that where voltage maxima and minima will occurs. Okay, so basically we have to move towards the source. So here is my source. Okay, so we have to move towards my source, and then we have to see where the maxima and minima point will locate. Okay, so as we know that this represent the impedance circle, so here is the short circuit point, whereas here is the open circuited point. Okay, so from our previous study we have seen that when you will cross the open circuited line, okay, then there is a chance of voltage maxima, whereas when you cross the short circuited line, so there is a possibility of voltage minima. Okay, so here when you move towards the generator, okay, means in the clockwise sense, so first you will come to point S, which is near about the open circuited point. Okay, so here there is a possibility of voltage maxima. Okay, so once you move lambda by 4 distance, okay, and come to the point Q, so this is nearby the short circuited point, so there is a possibility of voltage minima. Okay, and after further moving and uh, by a length of lambda by 4, you will come across this point again, that is point S, and this represent again the voltage maxima. Okay, and after certain more distance you will come here across the source, so this represents the source point, whereas P represents the load point. So now what will be the distance? Okay, so here this is start from 0, and here this point is 0.25. Okay, so for finding out the location of first maxima, what we will do, we will subtract 0.25 by this location, which is near about 0.194 lambda. Okay, so by subtracting these two, you will directly get the location of first maxima. Okay, so this is the location of first maxima from the load, so here is the first maxima. Okay, so after adding more lambda by 4 distance, which is 0.25, in the in this position you will get voltage minima. Okay, so here will be the minima. Okay, so after moving lambda by 4, okay, so here I am adding lambda by 4, so this represent voltage maxima again. Okay, so like here you will get here two maxima and one minima. Okay, and after that by subtracting, so by moving this distance, okay, you will reach to the load, so this represent the load point. Okay, so that's how this kind of problem we have to solve. Any doubt in this question? Okay, so let us move ahead. So our sixth question is, so basically here we have to design a L section matching network so as to match a series RC load with a impedance of 200 minus j 100 ohm to a 100 ohm line, and this line is working at a frequency of 100 megahertz. Okay, so basically we have to design a L section matching network. So if suppose this is the line having characteristic impedance of 100 ohm, and here is my load. So here we have to insert one L section matching network so as to match the load impedance, which is 200 minus j 100 ohm with a 100 ohm transmission line. Okay, so basically for solving such kind of problem we have two configurations. One is configuration A, whereas the second one is the configuration B. Okay, so in the configuration A you can see here that a susceptance is placed near to the load, and then a reactance is placed which is connected to the transmission line. So here is the L section matching network, whereas in the second configuration you can see that first we have connected load to the reactance, then in parallel we have connected to a load susceptance. So which configuration is used in which cases, that we have to first see. Okay, so like here in the case A configuration we can use when, if suppose this is my Smith chart, and here is the reactance circle. Okay, so if suppose this is the unity circle, this one represents the unity circle. So if our normalized load impedance will come inside this unity circle, then we will use configuration A. Okay, because see, if suppose your point is here, okay, so you are basically adding here either uh, basically here you are using a lossless component, that is either L or C. So if suppose you are using here either L or C, so you cannot be able to come to this unity circle. Okay, so that's why we will use configuration A, whereas configuration B we can use when the normalized load impedance is outside this unity circle, unit resistance circle. Okay, so here we will use this configuration A. I think this will be clear to you that why we are using configuration A here. Okay, so see, our load impedance is, I think I have written wrongly here. This will be 200 plus J 100 ohm. Okay, so consider it here RL load instead of RC load. Okay, so this is my normalized load impedance. Okay, so 200 plus J 100 divided by 100, so 100 represents the characteristic impedance of the line. Okay, so the normalized impedance is 200 plus J 1. Okay, so I think this is RC load only. I'm sorry. This is basically RC load. Here I have written wrong. This will be 2 minus J1. Okay, so point P here represents, see here, this is the 2 resistance. Okay, whereas the reactance is 1. So basically intersection of these two represent normalized load point, which is P here. Okay, so this is the normalized load point. Okay, so basically here you can see that for matching this load impedance we have to first add here the load susceptance. Okay, sorry, susceptance here we have to add. Okay, so what I will do, I will first convert this load impedance into load admittance. Okay, here I will convert this load impedance into load admittance, because to add this JB term in the load impedance is very easy as compared to uh, add this JB term into ZL. Okay, so that's why I convert this ZL into admittance here. So here is the load point. So for converting this load impedance into admittance, what I will do, I will first make a as constant SWR circle, and then I will draw a line that is passing through this point as well as the center of this uh, SWR circle, or say this Smith chart. Okay, so this point whenever cut to this uh, circle, constant SWR circle, so basically this represent the constant admittance, sorry, admittance, load admittance basically. So point Q represent the load admittance. Okay, so like here you can see that the value of load admittance is 0.4 is the resistance and the reactance is 0.2. So that's how you can find out the normalized reactance from the normalized uh, impedance. Okay, normalized admittance from the normalized impedance. So once you know this point, so for matching this load admittance to this point, what I will do, I will first uh, draw a constant admittance circle, which is unity admittance circle, which you can see here. Okay, and then what I will do, I will move towards this point, because here this point, by using this point I can directly come to this uh, center of this Smith chart, which represents the 100 ohm here, because this is my uh, characteristic impedance of the transmission line. Okay, so by covering this distance I can calculate that how much susceptance has to be added here. So B we can find out, which is equals to 0.5 minus 0.2, which is equals to 0.3. So that much susceptance we have to add in parallel with this load impedance. Okay. So once you find out this sorry, susceptance value, so what you will do, you can see here after finding out this, 1 minute. So basically what we have done till now, we have find out this value of the substance. So now what I will do, I will now convert this admittance into impedance again, because after that I can directly uh, combine these two. Okay, because these are series adding. So what I am doing, I am again converting this uh, admittance into impedance. So I'm again uh, draw a line that is passing through this point and the uh, center of this Smith chart, and uh, this basically cut to this unit resistance circle at this point. Okay, so again we have to move this much distance so as to reach the center of this Smith chart. Okay, so if suppose we will move here, then we can say that the load impedance is now matched to the uh, characteristic impedance of the transmission line. Okay, so for that how much distance we have to cover? So here like you can see that impedance here is defined as 1. Okay, which is the unit resistance circle, and uh, yeah, reactance is equals to minus j 1.2. Okay, so this much, if suppose you want to perfectly match, you have to remove this reactance term, then only you can give a perfectly matched system. Okay, so this much reactance basically you have to add here. Okay, so that's how you can find out the value of B and X here. So any doubt in this problem? Okay, so our next problem is somehow related to the previous problem. So there we have find out the value of B and X. But in practice, we have to insert a corresponding capacitor and inductor here. Okay, so we have to find out in this question that what will be the value of matching capacitor and inductor here. Okay, so as we have find out from our previous problem that the value of B is equals to 0.3, whereas the value of X will be 1.2. Okay, so we have to just use this value so as to calculate the value of C and L here. So C we have defined as omega f into b. Okay, but here this represents the normalized susceptance. So basically, to find out the actual susceptance, you have to basically divide by the characteristic impedance here. Okay, so that's how you can find out the value of c, that is b by 2 pi f into z naught. So that's how you can find out the value of matching capacitance. Whereas to find out the value of matching inductance, what you will do, you know that omega l is equals to x. So basically this x represents the normalized reactance. So finding out the total reactance, you have to multiply this reactance by z naught. So from here you can find out the value of l as x z naught over 2 pi f. Okay, so that's how you can find out the value of matching inductance as well as capacitance. So moving ahead, so this is the last problem. So the problem says that for a load impedance ZL is equals to 60 minus J80, design two single step short circuited shunt tuning network to match this load to a 50 ohm line. So basically this question says that if suppose this is the load having impedance of 60 minus J80. Okay, so basically you have to design one shunt tuning network which is short circuited shunt. Okay, short circuited stub basically. Okay, so as to match this load with a uh, 50 ohm transmission line. Okay, so it is saying that assuming that the load is matched at 2 gigahertz and that the load consists of resistance and capacitor in series. Okay, so you have to basically design a shunt step tuning network here. Okay, so let us see that how to solve this problem. So basically there are two type of uh, step tuning networks are there. One is the series tuning network, and the second one is the shunt tuning network, and the second one is the series tuning network. Okay, so here you can see that this stub is connected in shunt with this transmission line as well as this load, whereas here you can see this stub is connected in series with this line. Okay, so here in this question we have to design a shunt tuning network. Okay, which is short circuited, means at this terminal this will be short circuited. Okay, so how this system works, that we have to first see. So basically here what as we all know that a short circuited transmission line can be used for realizing any value of inductance as well as capacitance. Okay, similarly an open circuited transmission line can be used to realize any value of inductance and capacitance by perfectly selecting the value of this length of this line. Okay, so basically we have to finding out the value of this length so as to realize the corresponding inductance and capacitance. And then what we will do, we will try to nullify the reactive component that we will obtained here at this junction point. We will try to nullify the reactance component, and then this will directly match to this transmission line. So that's how this system will work. So let us now proceed and see that how to design this short circuited shunt tuning network. Okay, so first of all we have to see that where this load impedance exist in the Smith chart. So for that we have to first normalize this load impedance with respect to the characteristic impedance of the line. Okay, so ZL is equals to 60 minus j80 divided by 50. So the normalized impedance is obtained as 1.2 minus j 1.6. Okay, so here like minus 1.2, sorry, 1.2. So here you can see that this is the 1.2 circle. Okay, so here is the resistance circle, whereas the reactance circle, here you can see this represent minus 1.6. So here is the normalized load impedance. Okay, so for for solving this problem, what we will do, as we know that here also the load impedance is residing inside this unit resistance circle. So what we will do, we will try to try to first find out that what will be the value of admittance. Okay, so for finding out the value of admittance, what we will do, we will draw a line that is passing through this point as well as the center of this Smith chart, and the line wherever it cuts to the constant SWR circle, this represents the normalized reactance. Okay, so here is the normalized reactance. So now what we will do, we will first add some transmission line here, so as to basically obtain 50 ohm at this terminal. Okay, at this junction we will first try to find out the value of y naught, so that it can directly match with the transmission line. Okay, and here some uh, reactance part is also there, that we will nullify by using this stub tuner. Okay, so what we will do, we can move towards the generator, and wherever this this constant uh, SWR circle will cut at the unit resistance circle, this represent our junction point basically. Okay, so here the admittance becomes equals to y naught plus jb. Okay, similarly, if we move further to a distance d2 and reach this point also, then also we will get the same y naught with minus jb. Okay, so basically, if suppose we want to match this junction point with this transmission line, what we can do, we can make a stub tuner in such a way that the reactance that obtained here will be equals to minus jb, so that this add to here and this will cancel each other, so that impedance matching can be achieved easily. Okay, so that's what I am doing here. So like here you can see that here the value of reactance is, here you can find that it will be become equals to 1 plus j 1.47, whereas for point this d2 you will get the sorry, admittance as 1 minus j 1.47. Okay, so basically we have to eliminate this. Okay, so for that we have to choose the appropriate length of the stub tuner. Okay, so what we will do, here you can see that by moving d1 distance we can, oh sorry, so here like you can see that b, that is my 1.47, can be nullified once you add the value of reactance here. So here 1.47 is comes across this length, so this is the length of the tuner. Okay, so here you can find out the value of length of L1. Similarly, by using this uh, uh, this configuration, for nullifying uh, the this reactance part, you have to move additional here so as to reach this point. Okay, so this is the corresponding length of the stub tuner. So I hope this will be clear to you. So any doubt if you have, then please ask. Okay, so we can wind up this session here. Thank you all.